In today's video, I will discuss blogging for beginners, and I will cover 5 copywriting tips to help you with your blogging in the future. I know what it takes to have effective copywriting skills. 5 copywriting tips that will help you right now. So, how do you make your writing clear and compelling? Topic and structure are important, but the quality of your writing is key here, okay? So that is really the most important. So tip number 1 is something that I call guessing jumps. So what are guessing jumps? Guessing jumps keep the reader guessing or intrigued, really. So it's a jump between what the reader knows and what the reader wants to know. So how do you use guessing jumps? Guessing jumps give a little preview, or what I like to call a logic nugget, that will be touched on or spoke about later on in the article of your blog. When you give a preview of something later that is coming up, that's what I call a guessing jump. Now, why is a guessing jump for copywriting so effective and so powerful? Because people will do anything to answer a question that they have. As far as there are tons of studies out there that will show this, and this is just an example of one of them. So you want to keep the reader reading. That is the main objective here. Keep them intrigued. So if you take a look at this article from Forbes, they use a guessing jump. So if you take a look right here, it says, "Oh sure, the film is dramatized. A bit more on that later." It's a guessing jump. It's keeping you intrigued. It's keeping you reading. So tip number 2 for your copywriting, for your blogs for beginners, is keep things personal. This is very important. You want to use personal words or personal pronouns. Words like you, she, he. You want to make things personal to build a connection with the reader. This is very, very important. Words like you, things I can do for you. So I went ahead and if you take a look here at the Huffington Post, they use tons of personal pronouns. So I went ahead and I highlighted them. I find him, I'd, she, so I was, I am, with you. See how they make things very personal? Moving on. Tip number 3 for your copywriting is keep things short and to the point. You do not want to talk on and on too much. Okay, so make sure the intro is no longer than 10 lines. 10 lines is absolutely perfect. Include a guessing jump right at the end of the 10 lines to keep the readers wanting more. So tip or tactic number 3, to wrap things up, so you want to keep 10 lines, give there a guessing jump, and then you can move forward in the article. Okay, let's move on. So tip number 4, lead-ins. So what is a lead-in? You want your readers to stay there. You want them to continuously think what's coming next. You're keeping them intrigued. Lead-ins are often a question. So questions, right? Lead-ins are questions that lead to a response that you want. You can use lead-ins to move on in an article. So as you're writing, you can use these questions to move on in an article. But here is an example. So here's prime example. So want to sell more books, ? Or hi, I'm Tim G. Which one's more intriguing? Which one would keep you reading? Let's go ahead and move on. So tip number 4, lead-ins. Like I mentioned, so using lead-ins makes the reader want to read more. Lead-ins could be, check this out, keep reading, the best part, why, the truth about. You could think of numerous lead-ins that you could use to keep the reader progressing throughout the article. So tip number 5 is subheaders. Now, this was an interesting piece of information. 80% of people read the headlines, 20% of the people actually read the copy. Now, I've highlighted this all the way back dating in 1963. There was a gentleman by the name of David Ogilvy. I hope I didn't butcher that. In Confessions of an Advertising Man, and this is what he wrote. On the average, 5 times as many people read the headlines as they read the body copy. When you have written the headline, you have spent 80 cents out of $1. So what this is actually tackling as far as for your copywriting for your blogs is subheaders are for the skimmers, people that are just skimming the headlines, right? Most people will skim over your content, so you want to make things jump out so you can get the people to stop and read. Use keywords, but also use power words. So what are power words? Power words grab attention. And that's what's most effective with copywriting, especially online. It's all about getting and having a person's attention. So here are some examples of power words. This is not all of them, but here are some examples right here. I've gone ahead and made this little outline here. So they're power words. Here they are. You can go ahead and Google. There's tons of different power words. Oh, there's lots of them. Anything that's emotional, anything that would grab attention, these are your power words. So in the end, I hope that these 5 copywriting tips have helped you. This will wrap up Blogging for Beginners, 5 copywriting tips. Again, I'm Chris Palmer, and I thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day.